We finally did it, guys! 1,000 subscribers! And counting. I'm not even afraid to admit, I am freaking excited. I am freaking excited. And so, of course, the question is, what am I gonna do next with this channel? I mean, what is the next thing to do? Now that I get to call myself a YouTuber. Well, I tell you what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna sell out. That's the first thing. The first thing I'm gonna do is not sell out. That's never gonna happen. I tell you what though, I am feeling kind of tired from all the hard work I've been putting into this channel. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, I have this McDonald's macchiato to help caffeinate me when I'm feeling tired. Oh yeah, I'm loving that. Whew. You know what I'm not loving though? I'm not loving the smell of my breath after drinking this coffee. Luckily, I've got Listerine Ultra Clean to freshen up my breath. Oh, that's a lot better. My breath is minty fresh now. What am I thinking though? You didn't come here to see me use mouthwash and drink coffee? We need to liven it up in here. This is a celebration video after all. So, you know what I'm thinking? I've got Diplomatico, the drinking rum when you're looking to have fun. Bottoms up, baby! Oh, yeah. Woo! Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby! Oh, that tastes real good after mouthwash, I tell you what. Oh, yeah, baby! You know, yes, this is my obligatory 1,000 subscriber video. You know, every channel gets to have one. You know, I know it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but, you know, if you've been doing this for a couple years and you finally hit that 1,000 subscriber hump, you're gonna get excited about it. If you haven't experienced it for yourself, you're gonna have to take my word for it. It's pretty exciting. So, okay, you know, let's get the obligatory thank yous out of the way. You know, I mean this in all sincerity though, you know, to all of you who've been watching, especially those of you who have been hanging around since like the beginning. Like some of you guys have been checking out my channel since I had like 100 subscribers and you know, that's really cool. Like, when I see your guys' comments pop up in my videos from the same channels that I saw from, like, video 3 on, which I don't even have up on my channel anymore because it's not that good. Dude, it's awesome. Honestly, it means the world to me. Like, I get excited. So, alright. Obligatory thank yous and my obligatory 1,000 subscriber video out of the way. Now we're getting down to the meat and potatoes. What's next? What's actually next, right? Like, where do we go from here? So, I guess I'll just take this time to be transparent and honest about what I want to do. So, you know, ultimately, I want to get better at making, you know, video game videos. I've always loved video game channels like JonTron and PBG and Some Call Me Johnny and Brutal Moose and all those OGs, you know, and I really like their style. I really love the guys with the skits. And so I want to continue to evolve on that. I wasn't sure if you guys enjoyed my skits or not, or even if you guys do enjoy skits. I didn't know if the skits that I was making was actually good or if they were actually really bad. But I put a poll out. I put a couple different polls out, and 91% of you guys said that you enjoyed the skits that I'm making. So that's really exciting for me. That tells me that you guys would be as interested in seeing more skits in my videos as I am in making skits in my videos, which I love that because they're actually my favorite part of the videos. You know, like talking about the video game is fun. Like I really do appreciate video games, but I also really appreciate just being silly for the sake of being silly. You know, like even if I didn't make video game videos, I would still want to make silly videos in some way. Which I guess brings us to the next point of where I want to go from here. This is not a stepping stone to something bigger. You know, ultimately I make video game videos for the sake of making video game videos. I think they're really cool. I love that stuff. That being said, you know, ultimately, I hope I'm gonna work really hard and I want to try really hard to eventually make extremely creative videos. Dare I say, eventually even make cinematic experiences. Now, I know that sounds really silly. This dude who, for 2 years, has mostly just sat in front of a camera says he wants to create cinematic experiences, right? Yeah, I know. That probably sounds pretty funny. And it might not happen. It may never happen, you know? It's a pipe dream. And more often than not, you know, pipe dreams don't happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'll be content. You know, I'm just gonna do whatever I can do. But that being said, that's not gonna stop me from trying. To be honest with y'all, I've been on a long journey of figuring out what I'm gonna do with my life. When I was younger, like, I feel very passionate about movies. I could create a 2-hour long video essay of the value of movies, of fictional movies. I think that fictional movies help us unlock the subconscious. You know, like I think the field of psychology helps us do that. I think therapy helps us do that, but I think the general field of art does that, and I think the specific visual media of cinema also does that in its own unique way, and that's something that I personally feel very passionately about, because when I was a sad, isolated young adult who was going through real bad times, like I did not have a very good upbringing, if I'm being honest with you, and my young adult years were not exactly what you would call happy. I'm just being honest with you. And something I did not learn how to do when I was growing up is process my emotions and just process what was going on in my head. I actually used dissociation as a tool to try to protect myself. I didn't know I was doing that at the time, but that's what my brain was doing. But movies helped me unlock my soul, I guess. So, you know, I owe a lot to movies, and there are very specific stories locked away in my head that if it's at all possible for me to get them out there, I want to. Originally, I was planning on going to film school. I got through about 1 year's worth. It took me a lot longer than 1 year, but 1 year's worth of credits of community school, which I was going to transfer over to like the only public film school that exists in the state that I live in. But I've been with my significant other for a long time, and I love that person more than anything in the world. Like, plan A for my life is being with that person for the rest of my life. That is more important than making movies. And so I came to realize that they wanted to make sure they're always close to their family. Their families, not to go into detail, but their families from another country. They don't even speak English, so they need to keep close to them and to just help them out. Even if I went to school full time, I'd be gone for 3 years, and I don't want to live away from my significant other for 3 years. I know there are people who do that. There are people who move from one country to another to give their family a better life. And to the people that can do that, more power to you, man. But for me, that's not me, man. I want to spend all the time in the world that I can with the one that I love while I'm still here. That is just about the top priority for me. So having said that, I've definitely downsized how I'm going to do things. But I'm not giving up. I'm going to take this video game channel as far as I can. I want to get into skits, and hopefully I want to get into collaborating with other people. Collaborating with other, you know, YouTubers or people who aren't even YouTubers yet. You know, just anybody that's interested and passionate like I am. Get into collaborating through video games, and also collaborating through non-video game related skits. You know, I love slapstick comedy, and I want to get into that. And then more than anything, I eventually want to create cinematic experiences where I have monsters and demons dressed in exotic costumes fighting each other. That is what I'm really into. That's what I really want to do. And I think it's possible. I just think it's going to take a lot of hard work and discomfort. A lot of going outside of my comfort zone. You know, it's rough. You know, my social anxiety has gotten the better of me for the majority of my life. You know, this is a true story. Fairly early on when I was making YouTube videos, I actually left a comment on one of Brando Batel's Majora's Mask shorts, saying that I was going to make a Majora's Mask video eventually, and I wanted to ask him if I had his permission to reference him in my Majora's Mask review, because he puts so much interesting information out in his videos. And he actually said that he gives me permission, and he said that he'd actually be interested in doing a collaboration with me, you know. Brando Patel asked me if I wanted to do a collaboration, and I said no, because I have social anxiety and I was scared and I didn't have any confidence in my video making abilities yet. But hey, you live and you learn, right? You know, maybe that'll happen eventually, or maybe it'll never happen, and I'll come across other people and I'll do collaborations with them. Who knows? All I know is, you know, even if nothing else, I want to take this video game YouTube channel as far as I possibly can. Not because I want to get a lot of money out of it. I mean, that'd be cool, but not because I want to get a lot of money out of it, and not because I want to be YouTube famous or anything like that. I actually think I don't care about being famous for the sake of being famous. But what I do really want to do, to be honest, is I want to show the world, or I at least want to show YouTube, that you can make something big in an honest way, you know? Because that was the original reason why I fell in love with YouTube in the first place. When I looked at traditional visual media, it felt like everybody I was the most inspired by turned out to be some kind of a dirtbag. Everybody that I was inspired by turned out to either be, you know, scamming people in some way, stealing from people in some way, sexually abusing people in some way. You know, everybody I ever looked up to turned out to be a bad person, honestly. And that was kind of soul crushing for me. But then it was like, oh, there's YouTube. YouTube is where the normal people go. Or even if not, you know, normal, at least it's the people who are like, you know, not motivated by getting away with just being a horrible person. But then, you know, it turned out to not be the case so much either, you know, as the years went by, all of my favorite YouTubers turned out to either be scamming people or stealing from people or sexually abusing people or animals. And dude, it's depressing, to be honest with you. Like, that depresses me. And you know what? You don't know this. And so nobody needs to trust my word on this because you don't know who I am. But I know that I'm not somebody who does those things or will do those things if he, you know, achieves quote unquote success. But I want to achieve success because I want there to be at least one person in the world that I know with a 100% guarantee for sure is a person that isn't doing any of those things and is successful. It's not about building my ego up. It's about using myself to improve my worldview. I just want to see the world as a better place, and I don't really trust anybody else, but I do trust myself. If that makes any kind of sense at all. So, you know, I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, I know that was all probably me being big and dramatic for no reason. You know, who knows if anybody's gotten this far in the video. But if you have gotten this far in the video and you do like my channel, thank you for coming. And I'm going to do my best to make videos even better to make it worth your while to keep coming back. So anyway, thank y'all. And I hope you have a gosh darn good day, okay? I'll see you. Bye.